great treat is waiting for you only at participating DQ locations. Happy tastes good.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers saw their 4-game winning streak come to an end Sunday with a 1-run loss to Houston in 11 innings. Dodgers first baseman Freddie Freeman doubled in the 6th to get his 2,000th hit. The 14-year veteran is one of 6 active players in the 2,000 hit club. LeBron James has been nominated for another ESPY award. He's in the category for Best Record-Breaking Performance. LeBron scored 38 points on February 8th en route to passing Kareem for the NBA's all-time scoring record. The ESPYs will be televised live on July 12th. LeBron has won 15 ESPYs during his 20-year career. The Lakers and Clippers are sending their rookies and free agents to Las Vegas to compete in the NBA Summer Pro League. The Summer League is July 7th through the 17th. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners, so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
When we met, it wasn't quite clear to me what you had in store was there for only me. Surely you know you took me by surprise. When I turned and looked, I saw that message in your eye. There you were, out there on the floor. The way you move, girl, only made me want you more. I did not know you had me hypnotized to the movement of your body dancing in my eyes. I know I had to hold you and make you mine. Don't want to control you, just have a good time in ecstasy.
It's the best of the maestro, Barry White, all 3 hours of our program today on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Tavis Smiley, glad to have you tuned in. Our phone number, 1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580. June is Black Music Month, and every day this month, we are playing an iconic artist all 3 hours of our program, and today it is the one and only Barry White. Wish I could say it as deep as Barry could say it. Barry White. Anyway, in this hour, New York Times bestselling author Marie Benedict and acclaimed author Victoria Christopher Murray join us for a conversation right now about their highly anticipated new text. It's called The First Ladies. It doesn't drop until June 27th, 2023, but they love us so much and I love you so much that we're giving you a taste of this before it even comes out. June 27th is when the text drops. It tells the story of a bond that developed between civil rights activist Mary McLeod Bethune and First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. Drawn together by a mutual advocacy for civil rights, their singular friendship overcame a multitude of racial barriers, as you might expect, that began even on the very first day the women met, which we'll unpack here in just a second after I welcome Marie Benedict to this program. Marie, how are you today?
I am so delighted to be here talking to you and talking about the First Ladies.
I am so delighted to have you on. Thank you for your time. And Victoria Christopher Murray, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
If I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I am doing remarkably well, and I'm delighted to be in dialogue with the two of you. So, who wants to take this first question first, Marie or Victoria? But tell me about the very first day Mary McLeod Bethune and Eleanor Roosevelt connected.
Do you want to go, Victoria?
It doesn't matter. I'll start. They met. It was very interesting. They met because of Eleanor's mother-in-law, Sarah Roosevelt, who was FDR's mother. And she had invited women from all around the country to come in, and they were going to work together to move young women forward. And they all were focused on education for women. And so Mary McLeod Bethune showed up because, of course, she was invited. But the other women who were there, who were all white, refused to sit down with her.
So what happened, Victoria?
Mary didn't have a problem with that because that's something that she had experienced her whole life. So while the women stood against the wall and refused to eat with her because she was Black, she just sat down and enjoyed the soup. She would have eaten alone if she could have, but it didn't matter to her. And one of the things that I loved about Mary was that she never enveloped the problem of the racist. Racism was their problem, not hers. So she did not let it bother her.
Yeah. Victoria, what do you want to add to that story about what happened the very first day Eleanor Roosevelt and Mary McLeod Bethune met? What do you want to add to that?
I think the only thing I would add to that, and Marie could speak even more to this, is how impressed Eleanor was with the way Mary handled it. I think Eleanor was more used to people who would have cowered under that kind of situation, who would have backed down, who would have been embarrassed, all kinds of things. And I think she was very impressed with the way that Mary McLeod Bethune met these women face on, and she went about her business and she had lunch. And she said, I was there to have lunch, and I'm going to have lunch. Now, if they don't want to eat, that's their problem. It is not mine.
Yeah. Marie, how do you read that first meeting?
Oh, gosh. I mean, walking into this scene with Mary and Eleanor was revelatory for me personally and for the character of Eleanor Roosevelt. You know, she and her mother-in-law invited Mary, as Victoria mentioned, to this big luncheon they were having to celebrate the heads of all these women's organizations. And Eleanor had so little exposure to people of color, and she was just sort of at the beginning of her career in advocacy, primarily for women, but she had very little knowledge or exposure. And so I think she assumed that because all these women were there together to advance the cause and plight of women, that they would be like-minded. And it was, I think, a rude awakening for her when here comes Mary, so self-possessed, so accomplished, so gracious, just kind of sails through this horrible situation, and all these other women are scorning her. And it was eye-opening to Eleanor, I think, about the true nature of the people she had surrounded herself with. And it brought this immediate bond between these two women that was forged in this very uncomfortable situation, and sort of forced them to have uncomfortable conversations right from the start. And it really just grew from that moment forward.
Yeah, we just had a full hour conversation about how influence is our superpower with a brilliant professor at Yale, Zoe Chance. And here we come now in this hour talking about the bond between Mary McLeod Bethune and First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. Clearly, Mary McLeod Bethune used her influence as her superpower. A great deal more to talk about with Marie and Victoria when we come forward. Their book drops on June 27th. It's called The First Ladies. Again, about that unique bond between Mary McLeod Bethune and Eleanor Roosevelt. More about it when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Good thing we've got 3 hours.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Have you faced discrimination in Los Angeles? The City of LA Civil Rights Department can help. They investigate private sector discrimination in LA City in commerce, education, employment, and housing. If you're facing discrimination, submit a complaint online for free at laisforeveryone.com. That's laisforeveryone.com or call 213-978-1845.
Are you looking to steer your career in a new direction? Driving for Culver City Bus can be your ticket to a long-lasting career with excellent benefits and paid training. Culver City Bus is looking for customer service and safety-minded bus operators to join the growing team. Culver City Bus offers on-the-job training starting at $19.10 per hour, uniform allowance, and health benefits. Culver City Bus is a great employer. Let Culver City Bus connect you with an essential service job. If you enjoy driving, seek real opportunities for career advancement, and passionate about making a difference in the community, you are invited to join the Culver City Bus team. Start your journey today by submitting an application at culvercity.org/job. For more info, visit culvercitybus.com or call live customer service operators at 310-253-6500.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait, hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like watering your lawn during the hottest time of the day and leaky faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
I'm James Alexander of the Barcades and a proud member of AARP. I play bass for the Isaac Hayes movement, including the legendary Chef theme. Isaac Hayes was the first African-American to win an Oscar for Best Song in 1973. That was only the fourth Oscar ever awarded to anybody black.
AARP members are history makers, past and present. In celebration of the 75th anniversary of Black Radio, this feature is proudly powered by AARP.
What would you call a joy that is as solemn as it is sweet and knows no bounds? A joy that's beautifully rooted in soul and resilience. This is Black joy, a joy that reflects pride and honor despite every challenge. AARP believes the power of Black joy is limitless, and we celebrate this joy supreme. Join us in celebrating Black joy at aarp.org/Black community.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Hey!
September, when I first met you, remember.
The soulful sounds of Barry White as we celebrate June as Black Music Month on KBLA Talk 1580. Continuing our conversation now with Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray, authors of the highly anticipated new book about to drop on June 27th. It's called The First Ladies, and it tells the story of the bond that developed between civil rights activist Mary McLeod Bethune and First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, drawn together, of course, by their mutual advocacy for civil rights. Victoria, let me come back to you right quick first. Why is it you think that, and I'm not naive in asking this, but why is it you think that Mary McLeod Bethune's vast accomplishments in many respects, are still unrecognized to this day. We know about the statue in Statuary Hall. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But what is it about her, given all that she accomplished, that still keeps her story somewhat invisible?
And invisible is the right word for it, because it's not just Mary, but she does have this added pressure of being a Black woman. So many women's stories have just been erased from history. And it is just amazing to me that we were able to just ignore her accomplishments, and she has an entire college standing there. And there are so many other things that when people read this book, which is a novel, but does tell the truth of some of her accomplishments that people are going to find out, it's amazing. She was just erased because she was a woman, because she was a Black woman, and her accomplishments were not considered important to the history of this country. And so we hope that with this novel, that's something we're going to change.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about why. I was going to go there, but since you went there, I'll follow you. It is, in fact, a novel, but it tells the truth about this relationship. Why Victoria use that particular narrative form, novel versus, nonfiction?
Well, what's interesting? More people will read a fiction book. More people will read a novel. And if you want to get truth out there, I think historical fiction is a wonderful way to do it, because people who read for enjoyment are looking for an escape, but we're able to kind of sneak in some facts, educational and historical facts that will teach some things. So both Marie and I are fiction writers. That's the first thing. So we're not writing nonfiction, but it just seems the perfect way to introduce readers to these women and this friendship.
Yeah. This is clearly, for those of you history students, you know this already, this is clearly a critical era in America's political, social, and cultural history. And what this book brings forth, the book, once again, is called The First Ladies. It drops June 27th. What this book brings forth are the efforts of Mary McLeod Bethune and Eleanor Roosevelt, both separately and together, and the major role they played in passing many of the laws that we benefit from today. In that regard, Marie, what struck you most about what they were able to accomplish together, Black and white, as friends?
Oh my gosh. How long is your program, Tavis? Because it's so long.
Yeah.
I mean, so coming to, their partnership, their friendship started in 1928 at that fateful meeting at the Roosevelt Townhouse in New York City. But it really got going in terms of what they were able to accomplish. Mary had several positions and presidential commissions throughout the years. But when FDR assumed the presidency, suddenly these two women were operating as women have done historically, and thankfully not so much anymore, but behind the scenes to effectuate things on multiple fronts. But where it all started, where, back to that point you raised about influence earlier, is that Mary really helped inform Eleanor's understanding of what was really happening in our country at that time. It was an era of segregation. It was an era of Jim Crow. It was an era of lynching. It was an era in which efforts were, Mary had been part of these efforts towards equality for decades, and the movement was only able to get so far. And suddenly, Eleanor, through Mary, was tapped into all of this, and these two women would kind of work their way through these heart-wrenching, enormous problems in our country, and tackle it from different perspectives. So, just as one example, right when he came into office, FDR started to enact the New Deal. All the legislation behind that, the country was in a terrible depression. People were starving, were out of work. And, Eleanor would go after something one way through her access to FDR and his staff members. And Mary would go after it different, but they would sit down and come up with a plan. And as they did that, they would kind of tick off the big issues of the day and move the needle in ways that people I don't even think understand today. And yet, the foundation that they created on all these different fronts is one that we're benefiting from today as well.
Yeah. I've often said on this program and in speeches around the country, and for that matter, around the world, that great presidents aren't born, they're made. They have to be pushed. They have to be pushed into their greatness, and left to their own devices, they end up being garden variety politicians, not statesmen. And I always offer this as an example. There is no Abraham Lincoln if there is no Frederick Douglass, who we referenced in our first hour today of our program. There is no Abraham Lincoln if there's no Frederick Douglass pushing him into his greatness. People forget that Lincoln starts out on the wrong side of the slavery question, but Douglass is pushing him into his greatness. There is no FDR if there is no A. Philip Randolph pushing him into his greatness. There is no LBJ if there's no MLK pushing him into his greatness. And the point you make now, which is brilliant, is that there is no Eleanor Roosevelt if there's no Mary McLeod Bethune pushing her into her greatness, exposing her, consulting her and helping her to understand those things that she doesn't know. Barack Obama became famous for telling the story of A. Philip Randolph and FDR, who met one day in the White House. And long story short, A. Philip Randolph, who was the architect, the first person who had the idea for the March on Washington, it didn't happen until many, many years later. But that was A. Philip Randolph's idea. And Randolph is telling the president, Mr. President, you got to do this, 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 and this, and you got to step your game up. And the president said to A. Philip Randolph, FDR did, go out and make me do it. Go out and make me do it. And Obama became famous for sort of telling that story about the relationship between A. Philip Randolph and FDR. But now you're making me see this through a different lens, which is that Mary McLeod Bethune, Victoria, did the same thing for Eleanor Roosevelt.
She did exactly the same thing.
One quick thing?
Sure. Marie, you go first. Marie first. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go, Marie. Go.
I was just going to say, we actually talk about that meeting in our book, and I have to say that definitely happened, and they're kind of forged in the fire of each other. But who do you think made that meeting come about? It was Eleanor and Mary.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think I know the answer to that question. Yeah.
And that's exactly what I was going to say when you were saying,
I'm sorry.
because we have that story. We have that story in the book, Tavis, about A. Philip Randolph and the march that he was going to do, and how FDR did not want that to happen at that time. And it was Mary and Eleanor who brought those men together in a room that got A. Philip Randolph to finally say, to get FDR to finally say, okay, I'll give in to some of your requests here. But it was the women who made that happen.
No, it's a powerful story, and I'm glad you shared it in your book, because many people don't know the story of again, FDR telling A. Philip Randolph, go out and make me do it. But nobody knows the story except Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray. And now all of us will know it courtesy of their book, that it was Mary McLeod Bethune and Eleanor Roosevelt, the First Lady, who made that meeting of these two men happen. And that's why this historical fiction, to your point, Victoria, is powerful in its own right. What do you think? I'm watching my clock here. I've got about 5 minutes left. What do you think? You first, Victoria, and then we'll go to Marie. Victoria, what do you think the story of Mary McLeod Bethune and Eleanor Roosevelt? Let me give me a second here. I want to put a fine point on this. Okay. I thought to ask you what you think the story of their bond and their friendship says to women writ large, but let me be more exacting in my question. What does the story of their bond and their friendship say specifically to black women and white women, given the political divide that still exists in this country? I was talking on this program just last week, reminding people that were it not for white women, I'm not blaming them, I'm just saying, were it not for white women, Donald Trump would have been president the first time around. And so we have to have an honest conversation about the ways in which we move, the ways in which we vote. Ironically, Trump is not president if it weren't for a lot of white women that supported him. And Biden is not president if not for black women who supported him in huge numbers and made the difference in South Carolina that changed his campaign. So here's my question, Victoria. You first, Marie, you second. What does the story of Mary McLeod Bethune and First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt say to black and white women today in real time?
that if we work together, we can get it done. And I'm not sure that your listeners know that I, Victoria, am a Black woman, and Marie is a white woman. And we came together in our first novel to write about a woman who was passing, and we thought we were just telling a story of this woman who used to be the personal librarian to J.P. Morgan. But what we found when we went on the road was that people were responding to this Black woman and white woman having serious conversations about race, having conversations that changed both of their lives. And we found that readers responded to that, and they said this is what they wanted to do. So not only are our stories a way for Black people and white people to open up and have conversations, but we are showing in real time how that can happen.
Last word to you, Marie Benedict. Same question.
Oh my gosh, Victoria said that so beautifully. It's going to be hard to add to that. But that's exactly it. I mean, to write the sorts of things that we write, we have to have difficult, honest, frank conversations, awkward conversations about our personal experiences and beliefs we don't even know that we have. And it's only by doing that, Victoria and I have learned or discovered for ourselves that you can create a bridge that otherwise seems, almost impossible to construct. And that's when we go out on the road or we meet with readers, that's what we see them responding to. We see them wanting to find ways to build that bridge. And we hope that with the First Ladies and the Personal Librarian and then bringing readers together, they can sort of follow that, what the example that Mary and Eleanor have set for us and the way that Victoria and I have kind of gone about it to create bridges of their own.
Yeah. There's a great song that came out some years ago by the Judds, as I recall. And the song was titled "Love Can Build a Bridge," and I thought about that song when Marie was talking that love can build.
Yeah, I love that song.
Love can build a bridge. Yeah. The book is called "The First Ladies." I cannot do justice in 30 minutes to all that you're going to read in this historical fiction. It is a novel, and I take Victoria's point. You can get a lot more people to read fiction than nonfiction. She's right about that. Trust me, I'm a nonfiction writer, and I've done well. But fiction is something I've been thinking about, but I ain't bold enough to do it yet. But they've done it, and they've done it well. The book is called The First Ladies. It tells the story of the bond that developed between civil rights activist Mary McLeod Bethune, First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. The book doesn't drop until June 27th. My calendar says it's June 26th, so a day early. You got to hear all about it here on KBLA Talk 1580. Marie, congratulations on the book. An honor to have you on.
Thank
Victoria,
you.
Congratulations to you as well. Delighted to talk to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time and all the best with the tour.
Much.
Thank you. My great honor to have you on. All right, one more conversation, a great one forthcoming when we do news, traffic, and sports. After we do it, I should say, we'll get right to Ben Williams and Syndee Winters, who formed the dynamic duo Butterfly Black. Butterfly Black in a moment on KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. There's a plan to expand high-speed internet access across the country and is set to be announced by President Biden today. The federal push will help an estimated 8.5 million families and businesses with modern-day connectivity. The goal is to deliver reliable broadband to the entire country by 2030. Civil rights groups are urging the Justice Department to investigate African-American Jalen Walker's death at the hands of Ohio police officers almost exactly a year ago. They recently wrote a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland asking him to open a federal civil rights probe of the Akron officers. The group, including the Akron NAACP, wrote in a letter that Walker's family and the greater community deserve accountability and justice. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Hey, DQ fans, the new Oreo Brookie Blizzard treat is here. That's a delectable combination of Brookie and Oreo cookie pieces blended together in world-famous soft serve. You get all that in just one treat, and that treat is waiting for you only at participating DQ locations. Happy taste good.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers saw their 4-game winning streak come to an end Sunday with a 1-run loss to Houston in 11 innings. Dodgers first baseman Freddie Freeman doubled in the 6th to get his 2,000th hit. The 14-year veteran is one of 6 active players in the 2,000 hit club. LeBron James has been nominated for another ESPY award. He's in the category for Best Record-Breaking Performance. LeBron scored 38 points on February 8th en route to passing Kareem for the NBA's all-time scoring record. The ESPYs will be televised live on July 12th. LeBron has won 15 ESPYs during his 20-year career. The Lakers and Clippers are sending their rookies and free agents to Las Vegas to compete in the NBA Summer Pro League. The Summer League is July 7th through the 17th. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The other talk stations?
All day, all night, all white.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we sound like the city looks. Now celebrating 2 years of amplifying black and progressive voices. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that's between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. Eligibility criteria apply and funding is limited. For more information, visit COVIDPaidSick.com. If you're a business owner or lead a nonprofit that has between 26 and 49 employees, please listen. Lendistry is proud to announce a new program whereby small businesses and nonprofits may qualify for reimbursement of COVID sick leave expenses incurred in 2021 or 2022. This program is administered by the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. For more information, visit COVIDPaidSick.com.
The Los Angeles Urban League helps African American and others in underserved communities achieve true social parity, economic self-reliance, and civil rights. For over 100 years, Los Angeles Urban League has ensured our communities have access to careers with living wages, opportunities to start and grow businesses, and clear pathways to personal and professional growth. Programs like BizCamp, Construction Career Academy, Bob Business Ready, and B-Warp. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Program are examples of the ongoing events designed to make our centennial mission to rebuild Black Wall Street right here in LA a reality. To sign up for our newsletter or to support the Los Angeles Urban League with your time, talent, and donations, visit laul.org. That's laul.org. The Los Angeles Urban League is a proud sponsor of Urban Family Focus Saturdays at 7 a.m. on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
In our community, mental health struggles can sometimes go unnoticed. The suicide rate among Black youth has risen faster than any other ethnic group. Only 1 in 3 African Americans who need mental health care receives it. African American women are only half as likely as their Caucasian counterparts to seek professional mental health services. Even those who guide us spiritually can sometimes face their own challenges. 45% of pastors say they've experienced depression or burnout to the extent they need to take a leave of absence from ministry. As people of faith, it's time to acknowledge it's okay not to be okay. You can pray and get help. Visit normalizehelp.org for more information and resources. Join us in raising mental health awareness in our community. Funded by the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health and the Champion Counseling Center of Faithful Central Bible Church.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
I set the bar pretty high. I've always been too critical. There's something off with everyone. My friends will say I'm cynical. But if on time, my body's sign. Easily you came along. You changed my stone into a calm. I think I'm gonna keep you around. 'Cause I've been standing alone, handling my own. I go to therapy, I believe I'm whole. I practice self-love, not looking for anyone to fill me up. Then here you come, you let me be. Oh, you add to me, I go to therapy. You love me like a queen, with you I'm free, creating legacy. I see you see me, we'll stay together, baby. Oh.
The track is called Lifetime. It is the latest single from Butterfly Black. I am pleased to be joined now in conversation by Grammy-winning, let that ride, Miles, that sounds nice, by Grammy-winning bassist Ben Williams and award-winning songwriter and Broadway star Syndee Winters. Together, as I said, they formed the dynamic duo Butterfly Black. And you can probably hear they're drawing inspiration from legendary black duos like Marvin Gaye and Tammi Terrell. They're putting out some good stuff. And I'm honored to have them on. We've been playing the best of Barry White all 3 hours of today's program, as we do during the month of June. Pick a different artist every day, iconic artist, and play the best of their music. But that is not Barry White. That is Butterfly Black. It's called Lifetime, their latest single. Ben Williams, good to have you on. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing, Brother Tavis?
I'm doing the best I can, man. Syndee Winters, good to have you on. How are you today?
Hello, Tavis. Thanks for having us.
It's my great delight to have you on. That single is popping. It sounds good. I enjoyed the opportunity to play it. Ben, you first. Tell me about that track, Lifetime.
Well, I mean, I have to start by saying, I've been such a fan of you and your show, and the platform that you created for just black excellence in general.
Thank you.
And I know, by the guests you had on your show, I know you're a real music, real music fan, and music lover.
That I am, yeah.
And so you can probably hear those, you can hear the influence of, Motown, that old like Marvin Gaye, Diana Ross and the Supremes. We're sort of giving a nod to that, but doing it in our own way.
Mm-hmm.
And like the iconic duets of that period, like with Marvin Gaye and Tammi Terrell, and also Marvin and Diana Ross. So we're definitely tapping into that energy, but doing it our way.
Yeah.
I just imagine if Marvin and Tammi did a duet in 2023, this is what it would sound like.
Yeah. Before I bring Syndee in, let me ask you right quick, Ben. Since you went there first, I want to follow you. What do you make of whatever happened to duets? As I was preparing for this conversation and reading my research and listening to your music, of course, which is joyful to hear, it occurred to me that we don't have duets in the way that we used to. What do you think ever happened to duets?
Yeah. I agree, and that's part of the sort of the impetus for us getting together as a duet. We both felt like that was sort of a lost art. We were thinking to ourselves, who are like the true, what are some of the true like male-female duet groups?
Mm-hmm.
You hear a lot of like solo artists and they'll have a guest,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that's a different energy than having an actual history and the purpose of it is for both to be the lead.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe I think there's just been a general shift toward the solo artist. It's either like the solo or a group. And I think there's just that sort of space in the middle that is like a true male-female duet.
Yeah. Syndee, your thoughts on that? Clearly, you all are bringing it back, as it were, and sounding awfully good in the process. But to your mind, what's been missing on the soundtrack of our lives, if I can put it that way, by not hearing duets in the way that you and Ben are doing it?
Oh, thank you so much. And I would like to say, Tavis, I have been a huge fan of you for many years, and watching you late night on BET and following you all the way through. So thank you. This is a true honor to be talking with you today.
Thank you so much.
Truly, I think that what we started Butterfly Black on was the reconnection of people and reconnecting the word and infusing the word love in the music, in the lyric. I am the top line lyricist in Butterfly Black, and Ben does all of the music production and composition, and I do all the vocal arrangements. And we talked a lot about when we were creating this music, what is the message that we want people to hear, and what do we want to hear? And we want to hear music that connects us, that talks about our issues. You know, we're millennials, so talking about self-love, reconnection, trust, safety, and doing the work for yourself. And that's what Lifetime was about. But our entire EP that's coming out in August talks about everything from love to that space or that unexplained energy to getting down and doing the work when it comes down to it. And we want to the idea is that we want to connect our people again and have us feel love in a real way.
As the top line vocalist in this dynamic duo, Butterfly Black, Syndee, talk to me about lyrics. I get the sense that when I listen to you and Ben's stuff, I get the sense that lyrics matter to you all. And let me just also give you a shout out for taking off of life support, or actually more exacting, bringing back from the grave melody. I just want to thank you for just doing that single-handedly bringing back melody in your stuff. But beyond melody, which I love, obviously, talk to me about lyricism, Syndee.
Absolutely. I grew up listening to Michael Jackson, and I grew up listening to Mariah Carey is a great songwriter. And listening to how she used, multisyllabic words in songs and adjusting with rhythm and also connecting it with a message was really important to me. And I grew up also listening to reggae music, and I was around the Marley Brothers for my formative years in high school, and I would spend a lot of time with them, and their music is about the message. So I was actually introduced to jazz through Stephen Marley, who said that my voice reminded him of Sarah Vaughan. And so when I started learning more about jazz American music, I thought, wow, it is all about the melody. It is all about the voice. It is all about, the singers are anyway, and the message. And so I never wanted to lose that in all my years of songwriting, and also spending a lot of time on Broadway. It's really about connecting the stories to melody and it catching you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be able to do that in short form.
Yeah. That's high cotton when a Marley says you remind him of Sarah Vaughan, that's a big deal, Syndee. That's a big deal. Sarah Vaughan. Not many did it better than Sarah Vaughan, Syndee.
Thank you.
The group is called Butterfly Black. Their latest single is called Lifetime. They have a performance coming up on August 25th. I'll tell you about that and a great deal more. We continue our conversation with Ben Williams and Syndee Winters of Butterfly Black on KBLA Talk 1580.
Be sure to like and follow Tavis Smiley at The Real Tavis Smiley and get Twitter updates at Tavis Smiley. The conversation continues when we come forward. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, your sports connection here at KBLA Talk 1580. Join me and my co-host Neil Scarborough every Saturday night at 7 for Out of Bounds, the show that brings some flavor to the world of sports for 60 minutes. We take you beyond the scores and press conferences. We give you our point of view, the way black folks see what's going down. You can join the conversation and give us your analysis at 1-800-920-1580. Out of Bounds every Saturday night at 7 on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
You like the style, though.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like watering your lawn during the hottest time of the day and leaky faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
To my hometown, my community. Some of you have known me my whole life. Do you notice anything different about the kids in the neighborhood? Ever paid attention? We might start with gifts, money, attention. These are signs. Child trafficking is happening right here in this town. So don't just watch through the window. Pay attention. Because the more we know, the more we'll all know to say no. Learn the signs to look for and how to help at no-to-say-no.com.
Conversations that matter. You're listening to Tavis Smiley on KBLA Talk 1580.
Ben Williams is a Grammy-winning bassist and award-winning singer-songwriter, and Broadway star Syndee Williams is his partner. Together, the duo make up Butterfly Black. She made her Broadway debut in Disney's The Lion King. What did I say? I said Williams. I mean, excuse me, Winters. I'm tripping. Forgive me, Syndee. I'm in the last 10 minutes of a 3-hour show, so forgive me, Syndee Winters. The two of them make up the duo Butterfly Black. I'm honored to have them on in this hour. They're going to be in L.A., and I've already shoved it on my calendar, so I will be there. As we say, Lord willing, I'll be there. They're at the Hotel Cafe on August the 25th. And so if you're in the Southern California area and lucky enough to be around on that date, join me as we all make a trek to see Ben and Syndee do their thing as Butterfly Black here in Southern California. I can't wait. I've never seen them together in person, so I'm excited about the 25th of August, which is, again, on my calendar right now. I want to get – I'm watching my timer. We got a few minutes left between now and the top of the hour. Ben, I want to come to you about – your being in this business, again, for a minute, and being a Grammy winner. Tell me about, you guys mentioned earlier you're millennials, and you are. Tell me about your approach to music, the kind of music that you do. What's your approach to it?
Well, yeah. So this is, sort of a new chapter in my musical life. Mm-hmm. I started playing the upright bass when I was, I grew up in Washington, D.C., mm-hmm. and I started playing the upright acoustic bass actually around the age of 11. And at
11, the instrument's bigger than you are, Ben.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can ask my mother. She had to carry it for me for the first couple of years. So I was introduced to jazz actually around that age, and I grew up listening to a lot of music, a lot of R&B, soul. Of course, hip hop was huge. By the time I came around, and so I was, in my practice as a musician, learning and internalizing jazz music, and so learning about Miles Davis and playing bebop and Charlie Parker and John Coltrane and all that stuff, and that was for the most part my passion in terms of performing in music throughout high school. I went to college at Michigan State and went on to Juilliard after that. Moved to New York in 2007. So I've had a lot of formal instruction and, just a lot of experience playing with some of the jazz greats, like, people like Wynton Marsalis, and I toured with Pat Metheny for a number of years, David Sanborn, Kamasi Washington, and Robert Glasper, people like that. And performing mostly as just as a bassist, and with several projects of my own along the way. And so the actual what we're doing now is fairly new in my path. I just actually started singing a few years ago, and when me and Syndee connected, this was sort of a new chapter, as I said, in my life. Sort of transferring to the role of being a producer and then also a singer and co-songwriter with Syndee.
Yeah, I am. I'm laughing, Ben, because you may know these stories, and if you don't, you will know them in 2 seconds. There are a number of artists who were like you, who played instruments first, and were, in their case, not invited to sing, or in some of their cases, told not to sing. The story of Jeffrey Osborne is one of being a drummer. He's at the back of the band for LTD before he gets a chance to sing, and who knew he'd become the lead singer for LTD, and the hits kept coming, right? George Benson was playing his guitar, and they told George Benson, "Don't sing, George, just play your guitar." I'm so glad that George pushed back on that and started singing. And so I'm just curious, right quick, to tell me a bit more before I get back to Syndee here. Tell me a bit more about what it's like to be a player first and then to find yourself at some point starting to do vocals.
Well, I still feel, I think it's a sort of a unique place to approach singing from, being an instrumentalist for so many years. My thing is always music first. So, I think as even when I'm singing and, we're writing these songs, I'm always, approaching the voice as almost an instrument, so I take my skills as a performer, on musical instruments, and, I sort of think about almost treat the voice like an instrument, in terms of rhythm and melody and all that. So I think it's cool. I feel like it's a unique approach that I sort of arrive at from being an instrumentalist for so many years.
Yeah. Syndee Winters, I want to come to you now and talk about for a few moments here about your Broadway stuff, because again you're now doing this Butterfly Black piece. But you've also had a chance to be on Broadway. Let me just ask you point blank, what's it like starring in something as massive, talk about hugely successful, something as massive as The Lion King on Broadway?
Oh, it's a fabulous dream come true to be a part of that, honestly.
Yeah.
In a short story, I was obsessed with The Lion King. I remember spending my allowance money on this Lion King sing-along tape from the film and making my family sit down and watch me belt out all the songs. And when I learned it was a musical, there was a Caribbean actress named Heather Headley who was playing Nala.
Sure.
And I said, my parents are from Jamaica. And I said, if she can do it, I want to play Nala. I want to do that. Broadway seemed like that's a possibility for me. And her voice sounded like the voices that I loved and admired on the radio, the Whitney Houstons, the Mariahs, those strong black voices, So also, I say that I've always been a songwriter, and Broadway came along and they brought me on. I was really lucky to work on shows like The Lion King, Pippin, Motown the Musical, and Hamilton because of my skill set as a songwriter and a rapper. So I'm really lucky to have found a place where I could use all of those skills, and that will sharpen my tool as a songwriter. And eventually when I become a full-time artist, that the music and my skill set will also have grown by then.
Yeah.
And Ben and I met during my time at Hamilton through a mutual friend, and I came to one of his shows, and he was incredible. And I was really trying to see if we could collaborate, but he was busy. You know, he mentioned all the artists that he was performing with. This is in real time. The man is hard to pin down. But the pandemic brought us an opportunity to come together to start working on a simple, writing session that turned into multiple songs. And eventually I was listening to his voice on some of the tracks that he was creating for an independent Syndee Winters project. And I was like, you sound good, my man. And I like the blend of our voices. We were doing these concerts, these virtual concerts together, and the feedback that we were getting from the audience, they were like, how long have you guys been a group? So we just went ahead and made it official, and the feedback has been so incredible. We didn't realize creating this project that this was something that other people resonated with other people as well.
I've been at this for a while, and in my career, I've seen and interviewed any number of persons who are doing duets, and oftentimes their voices don't blend so well together. To your point, though, Syndee, your voices blend beautifully together, and I think that's part of what makes Butterfly Black so delicious to the ear. Let me ask you right quick. I'm just watching my time, about almost out of time here. Let me ask you right quick to say a word about Hamilton. Lion King was huge. Hamilton is iconic. Lin-Manuel Miranda. Say a quick word about Hamilton and your being connected to that project.
Yes, I performed in Hamilton on Broadway. I played all three of the Schuyler sisters, so I was the principal standby in the show on Broadway, and I had a blast. The way my brain works is that I do enjoy doing one role, but to get to play all three throughout the course of my time there was incredible. That, to me, was better than playing 8 shows a week, one role.
Yeah. It was, again, iconic stuff, and so honored that you were a part of it. The duo is called Butterfly Black, their latest single. I see people sending me messages now trying to get the name of the track again. It's called Lifetime. Lifetime is the...
Oh, and Tavis.
Yes.
We actually have a new song coming out this Friday, all streaming platforms everywhere, and on Bandcamp, called BRB.
Yes. BRB drops this Friday. That's the 30th, I think.
That's right.
Yeah, the 30th. So BRB drops on Friday. That's the 30th. Lifetime is the track we played earlier for those who wanted to know what that was. Again, the group is called Butterfly Black, and they will be here in Southern California again on August the 25th. Circle it on your calendar at the Hotel Cafe. Jill Scott was just here, I guess, a week or so ago. And you and I have known each other for years now, but I remember the very first time I saw Jill when she came to L.A., she was playing here, and a few of us went to see her, and the way she took off after that is remarkable. And so I'm just as excited to see Ben and Syndee together for the first time as Butterfly Black, and just wait to see how this is going to take off as well for them. Ben, good to have you on the program. Thanks for your time today, and all the best to you, my friend.
All right, thank you. So, thanks for having us so much.
My great honor. And Syndee Winters, congrats to you on all that you have done and are doing and will do, and look forward to seeing you here in Southern California in August.
Thank you, Tavis.
My great honor to have you both on. That's our show for today. 3 hours gone, just like that. Back here tomorrow morning, Lord willing, to do it all over again, 9 a.m. to 12 noon Pacific. Time now, though, to make room for the KBLA Midday Money Chain. Up next, the Millionaires Roundtable with Lynn Richardson, to be followed by Ahead of the Crypto Curve with Naja Roberts. Old money, new money. Either way, we got you covered here on KBLA Talk 1580. Until tomorrow morning, Lord willing, thanks for tuning in. And as always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore.